everyone, this is RadTechShoe, and I have another Rad review, and in this video we're going to be looking at Rise of the Tomb Raider for the PlayStation 4. We're going to be going over this game, and I'm going to be giving you my overall general opinion of it and how good of a game I think this is. So first off, let's get right into it. Laura is back from her original game 1 year later after her original Tomb Raider game, and it seems that she seems to be struggling with some psychological trauma, maybe some PSD from the events that took place on that horrendous island and all the shit she had to deal with. So she's turned to one of her father's projects that was unsolved. The very last project that he was working on before he met his untimely end via suicide. Supposedly her father killed himself because the project they were working on, the lost city of Katesh, it drove him mad, supposedly. So, anyway, she's now working on finding what is known as the Divine Source, this relic that supposedly bestows immortality on whoever wields it. So obviously you can tell the implications here that if this device were to be found, if it were to exist and were to be found, it could end it. It could just save all of humanity. It could just help humans throughout the long haul, and it would just, all diseases, all sicknesses, all ailments could just be prevented and cured. Like, it would literally be one of the biggest discoveries throughout human history, if not the biggest, at least at that point in time. However, Laura is not alone in her quest to search for the Divine Source. There's this organization called Trinity, which essentially is pretty much this force that wants to, this little faction that wants to find it, to take it for their own purpose. Supposedly there's a brother and a sister who want it for their own purposes, to make themselves immortal so that they will live forever, obviously, and probably rule the world with an iron fist. So Laura now has to do it not only to redeem her father's sullied name, because her father's name was tarnished because of this entire mission, but she also has to do it to save the world. So ultimately it's saving the world and finding this holy relic and item before it falls into the wrong hands. So obviously you can tell that the stakes are high with this game. So ultimately it leads to one main location. Most of the fighting and action and the storyline takes place within one large location, up in the mountain regions, and it's really a little disappointing because me being a Tomb Raider fan, the older Tomb Raiders, Laura always traveled the world. She went from to Europe to Asia to Africa. She went from different countries and continents to one another. So it is this kind of more follows along the last game of she's really stuck in one location and she has to go from place to place within that one location. So it's a little disappointing to not see her travel the globe like I would like her to, but ultimately, it's a very, very small complaint of mine. But let's get right into the actual gameplay. Laura handles very, very easily. She pretty much has her standard weapon slot. You can equip a multitude of weapons. You can jump, you can platform, you can shimmy. It's pretty much the same platforming game from the first one. You can tightrope walk, you can climb up ladders, shimmy along edges, solve puzzles. And as you progress through the game, Laura can gain skills and use those skills to increase her combat abilities, her crafting abilities, or her survival techniques. She has a lot in her arsenal of natural abilities and skills, and she can gain abilities like the ability to sneak up on someone and choke them out or kill them faster, or the ability to detect certain items when she's within range so that she's able to find resources to craft equipment better. Then there's the crafting in and of itself, where you can craft ammunition, you can craft a variety of ammo for certain weapons, like you can craft regular arrows for your bow and arrow, or you can craft fire arrows or poison arrows. There's a lot of weapons at Laura's disposal when in combat, and you can also heal yourself in combat, as always. In any Tomb Raider game, you're not expected to go through unscathed. You naturally regenerate your health over time, but in case you're about to die, you can quickly heal yourself, and you can even gain a skill that makes it so that when you do heal yourself, you don't take any damage for a few seconds after you heal, which is a very nice ability. But it's not just Laura fighting against bad guys. You actually fight against animals, wolves or bears, or you can even kill harmless deer or rabbits. You can harvest their hides and stuff like that as resource materials in order to do all these upgrades. But Laura can actually use the environment to her advantage. She can actually hide in bushes and wait for an enemy to walk too close, and then with a perfectly timed button press, there's quick time action here, so you can perform stealth kills, you can perform a lot of fun abilities and stuff like that. You can booby trap enemies, dead enemies, so that when a living enemy sees the dead body and comes over to inspect, it can detonate and cause the enemy to die as well. So you can literally save ammunition by booby trapping other enemies and so on and so forth. It's a lot of fun. This game has a lot to offer in terms of how you want to go about killing enemies. Now when it comes to the visuals in the game is absolutely gorgeous at several points. The maps look super detailed, from the mountains to the underwater cavern to the underground caverns. Even swimming underwater, she's able, the attention to detail in this game in terms of the looks is absolutely breathtaking at some point. I really do think that this is one of the better looking games I've played on the PS4. It really is detailed and amazing, and I do like the fact that they put so much effort into this game in terms of the visual aspects and just making it look super gorgeous all over the place. I never really looked at any point and thought to myself, wow, that looks cheesy or subpar, that looks like PS3 quality. This game looks absolutely astonishing. And the music isn't too bad either. The music that plays during combat is pretty fast paced. It's not super intense or anything like that. And the music that plays during certain plot points is also interesting when stories are being told. And speaking of the plot, I do like the fact that there are a few plot twists and character secrets that you come across later in the game that actually do change my opinions of the game. Like, I thought it was just going to be kind of stereotypical run-of-the-mill, but the characters in this game are actually realistic and believable. Like, I feel actually emotionally invested in the outcome of this game and just who some of these characters are and what it's like for them. So I really do like this game. I really like how this game plays. I like how it handles. I like this game a lot. One of the biggest complaints I have is to try and get the platinum trophy. I don't like some of the extra features because I think that they take away from a little bit of the fun of the game. There's like certain time trials where you have to finish the game in a certain amount of time in order to get a high score, in order to get gold medals for replays. And you can replay certain levels, and you can replay them with certain bonuses and multipliers. Like, for instance, you can open up packs of trading cards, and these trading cards will bestow either enhancements or, negative effects. There's positive effects, there's negative effects, so stuff that can help Laura or hurt Laura in order to increase your score and so on and so forth. There are modifiers. This game has a lot of extra content. It has a lot of detail in terms of everything that can go on after the game. So after you beat the main game, you can still continue through the world and play in the same area as before, and you can just literally enjoy playing. You can go around and complete a bunch of stuff. I don't like the fact that the Platinum Trophy requires you to do some of the content that I think that should be reserved for bonus content. I like to get Platinum Trophies. It's kind of like what I do now. I always look to see if I can get a Platinum Trophy. However, if I were to try and pursue this Platinum Trophy any further than I already had, I would start to lose my appreciation for the game because some of the tasks are really daunting and frustrating, and I just don't like it. So I'm not a huge fan of the time trials or the time attacks or replaying certain missions and trying to get gold medals in order to make it so that and you have to do that for every level, every mission, every tomb. There are plenty of tombs here that are optional explorables, but if you do explore them, you gain extra skills and abilities and stuff like that. So there's a lot in this game in terms of the content, not just in the regular game content, but also bonus content as well. Baba Yaga. There's so much to go. There's so much going on in this game. There's a lot to do. There's a lot going on, and this game really is a lot of fun. But unfortunately, that's one of the problems. Is it feels like I don't want to do. I don't want to do these time attack missions and stuff like that in order to platinum the game. That's one small side effect. That's not really a side effect. That's one small negative of mine. It's not that big. It's kind of like my review of Dishonored. It's a really solid game, a great game overall. And the complaint of me not being able to get Platinum Trophy is a small nuisance. but it does kind of like, it does irritate me a little bit just because I wish I could platinum the game, because it's an amazing game. This game is truly stellar, and I have to admit, I was thoroughly surprised by just how good this game was. And so my overall score for this game, I'm going to give it a solid 9 out of 10. I give it a 9 out of 10 for good story, good characters, interesting locations, beautiful graphic, beautiful scenery, good music, a lot of content in the game and in the bonus content, DLC and stuff like that. There's so much to be had here. I definitely recommend that you get the Tomb Raider game, this Rise of the Tomb Raider. It's a great game, very fun, very entertaining, and I look forward tremendously to the next Tomb Raider game. I'm curious as to what may come in the future for Laura, but rest assured, I will be there and I will play the next Tomb Raider installment. These last two Tomb Raiders have been pretty good. The first one was okay. This one was absolutely stunning for me. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's one of my more likable and favorite games on the PS4. And that's going to do it for this rad review. I thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed my commentary and the gameplay, and I will see you guys all later.